Hello, hello, welcome one and all. Welcome to my stream. I am Paladin Ashe here to stream for you again. And today we're going to pivot into Planet Crafter because, man, was I starting to experience the Satisfactory burnout. I enjoy Satisfactory, but it is certainly one of those things where it's like when I start thinking about doing a big, massive build live on stream, I start thinking of how long that's going to take. And like, I simmed that and was like, this is probably going to wind up being something I do in future, but not immediately now. Like, genuinely speaking, I was just like, oh, this looks like it's gonna actually be a fucking agony. You know, maybe if I do that off stream in like in my personal file, things will be different because, I always find if I have a learned game plan, things are easier to work with. But whatever. Today we get into Planet Crafter, and I'm going to start on Toxic, which is a new planet, and I've never played on. So we're gonna see how it goes. Yes, those are the names of my planets. No, I will never explain why. When did they add Selenia? I don't remember that one. But I did say I'm going to be on Toxic, so. Okay, let's load cum dumpster.
Emergency. Correct your trajectory. Imminent impact. Imminent impact.
Hello, EA. How you doing? Warning, this planet is highly toxic. To survive, you'll need to detoxify essential elements such as water using a detoxification machine. Build one quickly along with a toxic water extractor. Some areas are more toxic than others. Keep an eye on your toxicity meter and remove the toxic goo in those zones to explore and build safely. Moreover, high toxicity levels will disrupt your energy production at certain thresholds. To advance the terraformation process, you must increase global purification at the same time. That's nice to hear, EA. Welcome to your assigned planet. Your mission is to advance the terraformation process of this world. You'll need to generate O2, heat, and pressure. Blah, blah, blah. That's the basic shit. What? Pristine mushroom, purification capsule. Ah, yes, I need a construction chip. So I need silicones and magnesiums. Let's go out and get 3 silicone and 3 magnesium. That's iron, that's titanium. Magnesium looks like the 3 lumps. That! That's what toxic looks like. Oh no! I'm slowly but surely suffocating. Toxic is not the word I would use for something that clearly has the radioactive symbol. Wait, no, that is the toxic symbol. Or isn't it? I'm getting mentally confused in the stupidest of ways. No, that's the biohazard symbol. Okay. So, what was it? I've played this before. I'm playing on like the newer world on this. You know, for keeping things kind of new for myself. In the baseline file, it does not have toxic being the issue. It's generally just that the world has no air on it and exists in a state where, you know, you're not going to be able to stray far from your base initially because you have reduced air tanks. See, some areas as water, using it to toxification. Build one quickly along with toxic water extractor. So I want to build detoxification machines. I also want to build an actual air tank. So I'm going to get myself 2 cobalts, an iron, and a magnesium. Oh, well, that's great. Pretty sure that's a meteor storm. Or it could be something else. Hey, Chanka. There we go. Toxic water collector. Do I got any spores? And where do I get those spores? These pristine mushrooms. Those are the spores. And now I get the fuck away. Insert toxic elements into the machine. Microplastics. This microplastics. Going to need to find something happy to watch after I finish Elfin Lied. You should watch Your Lie in April. It's very happy. It's got so much classical music. It's about a young boy, about 12, rediscovering the love of classical, piano. See, power. Do I not have the ability to make? Oh, turbines. Yeah, right there. Ranma's a pretty good one. They did a a revamp of it recently, but yeah, I've not ever watched all of Elfen Light. I think I watched a little bit of the intro back when it was new. Back when like acquiring anime via the high seas was about the only way that you could do so. And I was fairly young. But I remember it having a rather bleak tone about it. And there was like a fucking like prequel episode that like talks about how like the main character suffered an extreme loss of a friend who tried to help her. And she basically like at like by the time of the beginning of the series has like an eternal grudge against the main character, or like the main scientist. Okay. Let's get a bunch of iron and make some hab blocks. Oh, I have one that you might like. It's not sad. It's Ruri's Rocks. It's from like about a season ago. And it's about a young girl who basically takes an interest in I think it's rock hopping. No, not rock hopping. Rock hounding. Mineral hounding. Basically, yeah, geology. She takes a mad interest in like finding like crystal formations. And she's mentored by a girl who's like a, yeah, genuinely really cozy. And it's one of those clearly by somebody who like had like an interest in the hobby, because it's like one of those like points where like every so often we'll be like, here's some information you probably didn't know about geology. And you'll be like, shit, I want to be a geologist now. All right. There we go. Like, about the only sad thing that really happens in that is, like, getting some backstory on some of the characters and finding out that, like, they had, like, one of them basically, she had, like, an interest when she was younger, but her parents kind of shunned it out of her because they want her to get a good job. Oh, yeah, Ascendance of a Bookworm's a good one. Also, it's got like a new season coming out like next year, though it's by a different studio. Why they changed studios, I don't know, but like it's by Studio Wit, and the animation so far from what we've seen looks good. Like, it's not the biggest of like style changes, and it's at a good point for that change, because that's roughly where like mine enters the like nobility. And appearances matter amongst the nobles. Click on, bitch. Konosuba is also a good one. Basically, like, a loving parody isekai versus, like, the ones that are kind of horseshit because, like, they either are, like, hateful to the genre or just, like, kind of just lame. Like, there was one from, like, a year or two back called the Seed of Evolution. And I remember reading the manga for that a bit, and it wasn't bad, but like the anime was apparently just like a bad adaptation. And the thing is, like, Seed of Evolution's kind of like a protracted shitpost as it is. Goopy, goopy, goopy. Okay, we have learned that this shit is not toxic. Okay, so what I need is titanium. Silicone. Ah, ah. Titanium and iron butterfly. It's funny. So, like, I can't remember if I've brought up the subject of like the recent exploits in like the novels for Ascendance of a Bookworm. By the way, anything I say will not really be a spoiler because you will probably forget everything I say because I'm so many books ahead of where the actual like anime is that it's basically irrelevant. But like, so like mine gets involved in this game of what's known as treasure stealing dinner. And that's basically capture the flag, but with like monster hunting. You literally just like capture a magic beast that isn't so large that you can't control it, but not so small that like your enemies could like one-shot it. And the reason for that is once you have your magic beast, the winner of magic stealing dinner is the person who is the team that takes out the magic beasts of the other teams. So like once you've got your magic beast, you gotta lock that shit in and protect it. And so she gets involved in this purely because like the magic tools of the library, Schwartz and Ways, yeah, they have like, because she kind of just acquired their ownership, she's required to present them with clothes, kind of like Dobby the house elf style, but like in reverse. Like it is just considered an expectation that you will give these things clothes. And she had to basically like take them to her dormitory so that she could have them measured, but also allow like the magic tools teacher to like look at the stuff because she's obsessed with that sort of thing. And so because she did that, upon return, she more or less gets attacked by like the dormitory members from Dunkelford. And they didn't have any issues because, well, one, she gave them her blessing, but also Schwartzen ways are unironically kind of busted. Like, scary powerful. She did not expect that to be a thing, but they were like, we can protect you. And she's like, what? And it's quite literally because they are loaded to the fucking gills with like runes of protection and shit and buffed like to all hell and gone. So like, she didn't expect that, but it was basically how things played out. And right. Right, that's how you, it's been a while since I played this game, so I'm trying to like remember how to like to position things. Okay. But anyways, she proceeds to like successfully like defeat them in treasure stealing dinner by one, cheesing the game by like stuffing the magic beast into her high beast. But also at one point she chucks a face stone that she's like enhanced with her mana and then poured a bit of a rejuvenation potion onto it into like the mouth of the enemy's magic beast, which causes it to grow massive and go haywire. And she's like, LOL, okay, now we can deal with this. And I need to build a bigger thing. Right. Silicone. And so like she proceeds to like win at magic stealing dinner, but like she walks away from that thinking, man, honestly, we probably should have lost because our team sucked. Like, she's kind of brutal about it, but it's like, in her defense, they were basically playing with zero coordination, and one of the members who had been hired on as her retainer, I'm not sure if that word translates directly into German. A retainer is essentially somebody who is hired by like a person in perpetuity or until the end of a contract to fulfill like a certain duty. So like she has scholars retainers and she has guard knight retainers, and they may wind up being long term. They may end up only for like a little while, but either way, generally speaking, they're like, it's like a huge honor to serve like an archducal member, especially if you're like below a certain rank. But one of her retainers is a massive fucking dickweed. Like, she doesn't realize how big of a fucking dickweed until it kind of blows up about a day later. Because she comes into the dormitory and Richardia, her like head attendant, who's like an old woman who's like looked after like 3 Archduke candidates in some fashion, so she knows what she's doing. That's fair. Yeah, so like, she walks in and Richardia is basically like screaming at this kid. Now, the reason she's screaming at this kid is because this boy, Traugott, he's her grandson. And she recommended him for this role. And she's just chewing him out. And she doesn't, Rosamine doesn't hear about this, about why this is happening until like after dinner. But at which point she is sat down and promptly told that, she should fire this woman's grandson. And she's like, excuse me? And she's like, fire my grandson. I am dead serious. This boy should not be serving you, and it is an insult to your role that he is. And it kind of starts off with a simple fact that he wasn't listening to her orders. But then, like, Harmut, who is, like, scarily dedicated to Rosamine because he fully believes that she is a saint. Like, he knows that it's meant to be a fiction, but he believes the fiction all the same because he's like, what else but a saint could do all the things that you've done? And, like, she's just like, okay, whatever. But, like, he proceeds to, like, out this kid for some of the, like, the bullshit he'd said. Because the kid basically, like, disrespects Rosamine and, like, has professed to Harmut he has no actual intentions of serving Rosamine past learning how to, like, do her, like, mana compression technique. That is it. That is all. The moment he learns, he's outie 5,000. And Rosamine's like, I would like to talk to him before I end up firing him. And they're like, no. And she's like, no, I'm going to talk to him before I fire him. Even his grandmother is like, but you shouldn't be so lenient. And she's like, I will talk to him. In fact, get me a sound blocking tool so we can speak in private. So she talks with him, and Traugoth's basically like, I never wanted to, like, serve such a lamed little girl who could be taken out by a single fucking like snowball. Like, she got mollywopped by a snowball one time and fell onto the ground. And that's how weak she was. And this kid's basically like, I don't want to serve you. I don't want to serve anyone, but least of all, somebody as weak as you. And I want to one day serve as the leader of, like, the Guard Knights to the Archducal family. And she's like, internally, she's like, this is kind of dumb because this kid doesn't fucking realize that regardless of his wishes, he'd still be serving the Archducal family. Like, the way he phrased it was he believes that, like, the Guard kind of lead themselves. And the reason for this is because his grandfather is also Bonifacius, and Bonifacius is a previous Archduke candidate. And because of that, he cannot serve beneath somebody. Like, that is fundamentally something he can't do. But, like, Traugoth's not an Archduke candidate. What all do I fucking need? I need to build these, so I need plastic polymers. I need a detoxification machine. Yeah, that's the rub of it. Like, at no point did somebody really tell him this, but at the same time, it's kind of implicit that he should have known this because he's a noble. Like, genuinely speaking, this kid just did not grasp that he was, like, demanding something that would never happen for him, and especially won't happen now. Because the thing is, nobility is very much a, like, who you know sort of situation. And she absolutely could have, like, he could have gone far serving under Rosamine. But because he didn't, like, believe in her or respect her, he screwed himself over. Also, because he didn't want to serve anybody, he screwed himself over. Like, let me put it to you this way. He could have been Wilfred's, like, Guard Knight. And the thing is, Wilfred's men, like, Guard Knights, all learned Rosamine's technique because they're part of Rosamine's family. And, it was just sort of like a thing that, like, they learned. Fucking this dude could have been, years ago, learning this thing, but he chose to basically be, like, the most churlish little twat about it. And he proceeds to, like, essentially be like, I don't want to work beneath you. And Rosamine's like, internally, how do I work with this? Because this kid's a prick. Because he proceeds to, at one point, be like, I want to learn your technique because I know for a fact if I can learn it, I can become awesome. Because your lame ass lay noble, guard Damuel became awesome. Oh, for the love of God, I'm not in a place to remove that. Yeah, so like, thing you need to know, though Rosamine isn't like super duper overt about it, she loves certain people like family. Enough so that when she gave out her like last blessing as under the name of mine, she she gave that blessing like out kind of like broad spectrum to anybody she considered a family member. And yeah, so he received that blessing. He received such a large blessing that they're not even sure in totality. Can I make this? They're not even sure in totality all of what it did, and have never quite figured out that. Yeah, so like, there we go. Yeah, like he proceeds to say like mad smack about Damuel, and she is literally internally like, just like, yeah, he's dead to me. The only reason I'm not firing him right now is quite literally because if I do, that'll massively fuck over Richardia, and I don't want to do that. Because firing him would have, like, wide spectrum influence upon her family. Like, I shit you not, it would be bad for Richardia's family and Bonifacius's, because they both kind of recommended, this kid. But because he was being such a mad prick about things, he was basically spoiling things for himself. Is this working? I'm curious. Energy purification. But yeah, it's like, this kid basically screwed the pooch for him, and the only reason he's going to learn Rosamine's technique is because she just, like, I don't want him around, and, like, if I just fire him, it'll hurt people I care about. So I'd rather just be like, you know what? No, fine, you can leave on your own terms. But everybody's basically like, damn, you were too nice to him. I'm just like, maybe. But I'm not going to feel bad about it because I care about y'all. But yeah, at the point I'm in the novels, she's gone back to Ehrenfest, back from school for the winter dedication. Received quite a bit of like chastising because she has done zero actual like working out since she went to school, which means she was using only her like physical enhancer magic tools and enhancement magic to move around. And when she does the winter dedication, it proceeds to suck the mana out of her like enhancement spells, causing her to slump on the ground, which, because she was already genuflecting, she was fine, but still, like, fucking Ferdinand's like, don't bother with her, she'll be fine. Let's see. Okay, I need a mushroom. Oh, fine. I'll go around destroying the things. So I've got chlorine dioxide. Oh, I've already got purification capsules. And I've got water. I need to drink water. The current drama in like, the Ascendance of a Bookworm books is that while Rosamine was in a coma for 2 years, while certain aspects of her printing industry that she's trying to like, get off the ground have like certainly taken off, other aspects have essentially stagnated. And the reason for that is because the contracts surrounding the growth of the industry, specifically surrounding the spreading of papermaking, has to involve her approval. And this was established well before she like ever became a noble. And it was purely so that like once she entered into the noble life, she would maintain connections to the lower city. And she's like told this bluntly by Benno. Well, actually not bluntly. Actually, there was like a major problem there. She meets with them for the first time since coming away from like the academy. And because Gustav, the leader of the Oathmar Company and the guild master of the Merchants Guild, is present, they can't go into her private room, which would allow her to otherwise, interact with them more casually. And as a result of that, even Lutz walks away from the exchange thinking like she doesn't care about them anymore and is like looking to write them off or something like that. And he has to be told bluntly by Benno, yeah, you misread that whole situation, boy. You misread it hard. She still cares about you, but she is required to behave like a noble. You're just like, damn, we over relied on that fucking room for getting a shit across to each other. She needs to learn fast how to speak as like a noble and understand as a noble, which she is doing reasonably well at in other moments, but she still struggles. It takes her adoptive mother / official mother on paper. It's complicated. Basically, Elvira on paper is her mother. But Elvira discreetly is aware that Rosamine's existence is a fiction. Like, backtracking a bit. So, Karstead, Rosamine's official father, had 3 wives, which is pretty common. You have your first wife, who's your political wife, and all the other ones are kind of like they're kind of like political agreements to other people, but they can be lower ranks. They don't need to be a high rank, because the higher your rank as like a woman, the higher your expected position with like somebody of similar rank. But if you're like a med noble, you can marry an arch noble, but only as like a second or third wife, or possibly as a mistress, but you cannot be their first wife. And so like Elvira is the first wife, and there's another wife. Her name is Trudelide. And then there was a third one that was, I want to say, either a med or lay noble family member. Her name was Rosemary. And in truth, she was apparently kind of a bitch. She was one of those women who's really good at putting on the atmosphere of being like the fragile girl who like needs to be protected by the big strong man. And her family thought, because she had married into an arch noble family, and more specifically to somebody who was a previous archduke candidate, that like they were kind of owed special favors. So it led to a lot of internal drama within the family. And Trudelide Yeah, pretty much. And true to lead, basically like played up the whole I'm a victim thing. And it led to, or not true to lead, Rosemary. True to lead did not like this. And Karstead supported Rosemary out of favoritism. And Elvira was rather like bothered by this to the point that she supported True to lead, which led to a massive, I'm gonna fucking die, a massive breakdown in their relationship. Because, you know, like, yeah. There it is. You know, it led to a massive breakdown in their relationship because he always kind of parsed it as like they didn't like Rosemary and they hated her and shit. And just like, you've deeply misread the situation. You know, I was only doing that to like, you know, to like keep the family in good harmony. But like, he comes to her being like, so I've got a daughter. And she's like, oh, do you now? Whoops, gave birth to this daughter, and where did she come from? And he's like, well, her name is Rosemary. She was raised in the temple, or Rosamine. She was raised in the temple, and she's Rosemary's. And she's like, no, that is not happening. We just got this shit under wraps. We just got Veronica out of the way. Things are only just leveling out. I don't want this drama. But she ends up basically acquiescing the request under the grounds that she'll feign being Rosamine's, like, you know, mother on the grounds of, like, you know, because Ferdinand asked. But in truth, she was basically like, there's no fucking way that Rosemary gave birth to a child. I would fucking know because I know a lot because I'm good at information gathering. This child came from nowheres, and therefore there's something going on here that I don't know about. So she kind of susses out real quickly that Rosamine is not noble born. But she doesn't care because Rosamine's a very, you know, polite young girl, even if a little bit scatterbrained and obsessed with books. And she also happens to bring about really fashionable new shit like hair sticks, fashion ideas, treats for her like salons and tea parties, which are a very prominent thing among like, you know, noble ladies. Like it is an important thing to have like tea parties and like and socialize. Like socialization is a very important thing for nobles. So, you know, fucking Elvira initially is like, I'll just do this, you know, like because like Ferdinand asked, but very quickly is happy with the decision and loves Rosamine as her own child, even if she knows she's not. Because, you know, not just all this stuff she's bringing around, but also the fact that like Rosamine's tied heavily to the imprisonment of Veronica, which is kind of a big deal to her because Veronica was responsible for the poisoning of several people, responsible for the exile of Ferdinand. You know, she was responsible for quite literally, Eckhart, Elvira's eldest son's wife, dying. You know, like, Veronica, it was an awful person. And Elvira fucking hated her for several reasons. One of which that you find out in the book I'm on is because technically they're related. Veronica is Elvira's aunt. And kind of like half aunt. So like Elvira was born to what I think was originally a prior archduke's first wife. But that archduke was forcibly married to a woman from Arenbach, which is a more powerful duchy, or a more powerful duchy. And therefore, the end result of that was quite literally that like Elvira's grandmother was forcibly shifted down to like second or third wife, and this deeply offended the patriarch of the Lacegang family, who are like the faction for whom most prominently existed in Ehrenfest. But like this whole thing led to like, yeah, sorry, I'm spacing. This whole thing led to that woman, Noble Squabbles, basically like Veronica's mother proceeded to have like a bunch of kids, and the eldest son died. The youngest son didn't have enough mana, and during like a shift over in politics, was shoved into the temple. That was I forget his name. Besenwas, Bishop Besenwas, the dude who was basically like a creepy PDF who wanted to like sell Rosamine into slavery out of spite. I should put this stuff into... Yeah, I should put this into there. Oh yeah, okay. What am I doing with these toxins? What do these toxins do? Oh, that's what they do. Okay, that's what they do. But yeah, so like he was shoved into that, and Veronica was married to the previous Archduke, who was both Ferdinand and Sylvester's father. It was like a whole complicated thing, but like basically Veronica, began machinating a whole bunch and was very abusive towards her half family, especially her nieces and nephews, which included Elvira and her brother, who is the current leader of the Lacegang, faction, and also the Geeb of Groeschel. And this was like a whole fucking thing. And like the province of Groeschel suffered severely under fucking Veronica, because like they have really harsh long winters, and she's just like, LOL, you get to suck dick and choke on it. She was not a good person. So of course, like, all of this is to say that like Veronica, or like Elvira, kind of has like a lot of political reasons for why she cares about Rosamine. So like Rosamine comes to her and is basically like, yeah, I'm sorry that like the Plantain company couldn't expand much while I was out. And she's like, yes, it is those contracts that are getting in the way. You do know that you can just forge new contracts with those people, because it would be such a shame to lose those contacts that you've got. And like a very discreet way of saying, I know you feel strongly about the connections you have with that company, and I'm not about to like tell you to throw them away. So by all means, forge a relationship, forge new relationships, forge new contracts. You can just change the contracts to be less restrictive. I need le water. Do I have to build another one of these? I do declare, Mr. Beauregard. I should put down some other stuff. I'm being kind of vacuous right now. I need titanium. Ah. Mm. Yeah, Elvira's like a really decent sort as far as nobles go. She's actually rather protective of Rosamine. Like, when I say like protective, I mean like she has a tendency to be a little bit manipulative, but it's in the case of like for the greater good. Basically, she performs kind of like a test of quality on people. Essentially, in a previous book, when Rosamine was like asleep, Domuel, having like made a promise to court Evangeline, I forget her name. She basically there was a noble, like a med noble, who was one of Rosamine's guard knights. And she was serving kind of as like a mark of shame because she'd previously like rejected like a dude's like hand in marriage, which basically meant nobody would marry her because, one, she's like approaching like old maid status, and two, it comes across as arrogant. But like she didn't want to marry this dude because he was basically going to bump off her brother and take control of her home province. And she's like, I don't want that. So she proceeded to, be like, rejected, be gone, fuck off. Yeah, Christmas cake problems. And so, like, Domuel proposes to her in front of everybody, more or less to cut off her ex, who was like, damn, you showed up in this really nice dress. And the thing is, you're getting kind of old. You should maybe just marry me because I'm your last shot and I'm willing to forgive the rejection. And like Domuel's like, give me a year and I will be strong enough to like, support you. And everyone's like, LOL, you're well past your like your development stage. Your mana's not going to get any stronger. And he's like, bet. But the thing is, neither of them really communicate what the other is expecting out of this. And the end result is that Domuel doesn't realize that she fully expects to go back to her, like, home province. And she doesn't realize that he has absolutely no intentions of, like, leaving Ehrenfest. Because, quite literally, if he were to do that, he'd probably get silenced. And the reason is because he knows way too fucking much about Rosamine to like ever leave Ehrenfest. And so like this whole thing is basically Elvira testing Domuel's sense of loyalty and also sense of self-awareness in like the whole grand scheme of things. But also kind of like testing, the quality of, the guard knight in question. And the end result is that, like, she's all like, don't worry, I'm going to find you a husband. A nice husband who will look after you. You don't need to worry. But ultimately basically being like, yeah, she's not good enough for my daughter. She's not a bad sort, so I will help her. But she's not good enough for my daughter. You're not wrong, EA, but like a major problem with like noble like society is they really don't talk directly about a whole lot. Like noble society is like caked in euphemisms in this setting. Like, okay, let me put it to you this way. So Bezenwast was a creep. And every time he visited, Hase, not far from, the area town, the previous mayor would present present them for the juice of fruits of bounty and delicate flowers. Now, in the temple, flowers and flower giving is another word for like young women giving themselves to the men. It is honestly kind of creepy. They get sent a letter from Hase. By this point, Rosamine is the bishop. That is like, yeah, so we'll present you this. And she's like, ew, what? Why are they... Do they know that I'm a little girl and I'm not into that shit? They get there, and there is a room with fruit juice and flowers. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so Ferdinand, we're going to need to send some priests here to teach these people a little bit about like noble euphemisms. And he's like, why? And she's like, because they sent me a letter suggesting that they'd give me this. And he's like, yeah, okay. In that context, wise choice, because they might offend a noble. But like at another point, Rosamine interacts with like a noble who asks if like the white cloth has fallen upon the tower and is being carried by winds to new territories or something like that. It's like this really vague statement. And Rosamine intercepts because she's with her adoptive sister and her adoptive brother, Wilfred. Her adoptive sister's name is Charlotte. And the question basically translated to, so we know Wilfred went to the White Tower. Any chances of him possibly coming to our faction now that that's happened? And she basically like intercepts this and it's like, LOL, Lamau, no, that's not how it goes. He's not going to come to your faction. Goodbye. Because the whole thing of sending him to the White Tower, which nearly got him executed, is basically like a ploy by the Veronica faction to try and take control of him, of Wilfred. And so like noble society is just like caked in a lot of those sort of saying a thing but not really saying a thing. And so you can basically like totally avoid being caught in like a bind. Yeah, it's a very cutthroat society. It gets to the point where when Rosamine comes back to Ehrenfest, she's basically like, yeah, so I met with the prince twice, and they're like, you what? Yeah, in private. And they were like, you what? And just like, in fact, at one point he came to the library specifically and dragged me to his place, and they're like, you made him do what? Because like she'd had like the most bullheaded conversations with him, at one point basically promising that she would do everything within her power to never be in his presence. Because he was being kind of a jerk to her. And she's like, whatever, I don't want to be around you. And they're like, take back that promise. Like, seriously. He asked you to do a thing for him at one point, and you didn't even say, oh, I'll drop by. Yeah. Double speak out the ass. And like, she proceeds to like flounder a bunch and also be extremely blunt with him. Like, she straight up tells him to his face, the reason he's having problems with his lady love Eglantine is because she thinks he just wants her hand in marriage so he can assume the throne when he actually does love her. And like, she's like, I think you need to just bluntly tell her all this shit. And he's like, wow, you're very bold. He's like, I mean, I'm a little bit offended, but also I appreciate the information. Here's some information for you. Stop showing your emotions all over the place. Stop being so fucking like obtuse. And she's like, I appreciate that. Passes out. Silicon. I needed silicon. Ugh. iron, iron, iron. But yeah, like double speak all over the place. And they basically sent her to the academy knowing full well. They were like, we literally had no time to give her any proper education about like noble socialization. So we were hoping that she would just do nothing. But she ended up doing everything because like every report that comes back is like, Rosamine attacked a teacher. Rosamine has passed all her classes. Rosamine has, gone to tea with her professors. Rosamine has gone to tea with the daughter of a higher archduchy. Rosamine has gone to tea with the prince. What am I doing? Right. I need purification capsules, which come from mixing those with those. Yeah, it really was just like an ever escalating series of reports that were basically like, yeah, so shit's really heating up in the Rosamine faction. And they're just like, what the fuck is she doing? I need mushrooms, plastic. I need more pristine mushrooms. Why did I put these in here? Why am I trying to put these in there? I need to start cultivating food. Or exploring. All right, that's today, isn't it? My only hopes are that Dispatch and Claire Obscure get like the love they deserve, but I want to say Dispatch is barely listed in the awards, but I suspect Claire Obscure is going to sweep, except for the things that involve fucking Genshin Impact, because those are heavily botted by the Chinese. Actually, wait, no. That's not via... No, wait, no, it is via votes. I was spacing for a moment. But yeah. Yeah. I genuinely want, like, Dispatch and Claire Obscure to, like, get some love. Like, a lot of love. Claire Obscure, because while I haven't played it yet, I'm like... Mad respect to the grind. Like, an indie development company came along out of the clear blue sky and basically stole everybody's hearts. But this year's been kind of packed for, like, pretty solid, indie games. Like, Hades 2 came out. Fucking Claire Obscure, Silk Song, Dispatch. Like, this has basically been, like, one long middle finger to, to the powers that be in the AAA industry. Somebody somewhere must have been big mad when Claire Obscure basically rocked everything. Meanwhile, like, fucking Ubisoft tanked so hard with Shadows that they basically, like, are getting bought and sold. Like, my God. Air. Okay, cobalts. I'm gonna grab a bunch of airs. But yeah, beyond that, I generally tend to... But Shadows was so successful, guys. Don't you hear what we say? It's hard to believe that from a fucking, like, AAA company, because in general, they will frequently kind of just, like, buy their own product if they desperately need a win, so they'll, like, fake being, like, successful. That's just like a lot of cheap ass fucking options for, feigning being capable. Yeah, pretty much. It's to such an extent that it's like, yeah, you can probably just assume that, that, like, any good reports on Shadows were fucking, like, bullshit. And... Can I even... Oh, is this some sort... Oh! Okay, well, I can't safely approach whatever's what's there, so... But it's helpful to explore around and see what's around here. At least I know that spores aren't in short order, or short supply. Okay, so I need to craft an atmosphere purifier. Yeah, like on the base planet, I think it's called Humble. There's like both shipwrecks and the remnants of an alien civilization. And this is important because you don't get all of your crafting recipes from just doing like the standard stuff. Like you will find microchips, which you will then decipher, and those will like yield different recipes and whatnot. Like, that's how you get, I want to say, drone capability. Drones are very useful because you can make a fuckload of them and... Oh, shit. Ah! You can make a fuckload of them and... Ah! I didn't even notice I was suffocating. But yeah, you can make a fuckload of them and they will basically, like, go around and collect shit if programmed right. Oh, I should get out of here. Oh, I'm already getting out of here. Okay, yeah. So getting up to there is going to be a problem. I do not want to get hit by one of those. Kind of a statement of the obvious, but like, still, like, genuinely, I don't want to get hit by one of those. And I want to get out of this area. Okay, good. Oh, well then. See? Blue microchip. These things don't really do anything. They're just cool. Golden seeds, though. Want those. Snepia seed. There we go. But yeah, I never explained. So, okay, so part of the way this game works is that as you are terraforming a planet, there's various metrics you need to take into consideration. In the case of toxic, one of those metrics is the new toxic measurement, which requires its own thing. But for the baseline game, there's pressure, oxygen, and heat. And then also electricity, but electricity is just to keep shit running. But otherwise, you need, yeah, there's more than one planet. I'll probably, like, after I finish this one, move on to another. But it's not exactly a quick process. I've been at this an hour and 18 minutes, and I'm only at, kilotIs. You need, like, gigatIs. So, yeah. Right. Ice. Oh yeah, it's absolutely still a bit. Like, I'm at the very beginning of the game on this planet, so... Vegetubes. I need ice. Oh, I can still make water. Okay, that's good to know. Iron and silicon. Yeah, what was it? Oxygen, heat, pressure. Yeah. And then you need electricity to keep it all running. Iron, silicon. I'm gonna have to try a redo of like one of the initial DLC planets they had because it was basically like an ice ball that you were trying to terraform, but it got to a point where I needed a resource and couldn't find it, and it was like, what the hell? Okay. So silicon, iron, and 2 cobalts. I also don't expect to make mad progress, and the reason for that is because I have a tendency to be a bit lazy in games like this. Like, I'll kind of do the bare minimum and let shit matriculate. Because, as you can tell, I have to go around individually and pick up all these resources slowly. I wonder if I'm going to have to get to high ground at any point. On Humble, as you are melting, like, the ice caps of the planet, you find out that you're probably going to want to be out of certain areas because water starts, pooling. Not all over the place, but like the area you start in is literally a basin that becomes a lake. All right. Got 2 power like a bunch of power now. So let's start building my information terminals. I need iron. Yeah, that's the usual thing is like at the start of a game, your resource gathering is at a very bare minimum fashion. And part of like the gameplay loop is that you like improve your resource gathering over time. You know, if it's like a farming sim, then you do that via getting better tools. In this, it's a mixture of getting better tools and better equipment. Technically, I could break down all of my turbines right now and probably not hurt myself over much because, as you can see, there is a massive difference in terms of power between the two. And that's also true of like the equipment that you make. Like, you'll get upper tiers of heaters, upper tiers of drills. Screen, terraformation, boosh. Okay. So pressure's rising. Blueprints. I need that. Oh, mining speed. Oh, that might be useful. These meteor storms are actually beneficial. At a certain point, you actually gain the ability to summon them, and the reason they're beneficial is because every time they come down, they bring with them certain resources. But certain resources initially are kind of hard to come by. Oh yeah, no, they can't hit me in here. I think they sort of can, but that's only if, like, you basically get a mad case of, like, clipped into or something like that by them. But generally speaking, they're not, like, an instant death if you're at full health. You still don't want to get hit by them, though, because, like, when I say they're not an instant death, that isn't a good thing. Because you still basically get, like, your health here chunked. And it is possible to just be obliterated by them. And it's possible to not even know that you got obliterated by them. I've had that happen. Plastic polymer. Okay, I need toxins and plastics. What do you mean what just happened? Yeah. Yeah, fair. Yeah, like, that has happened to me before where I've just kind of died and was like, what? I saw some fucking spores over here. Where are they? There they are. Dip in here. Can y'all fuck off? Oh, that's this machine. Okay. I need something to do with these toxins because they're kind of cluttering up shit. I need microplastics. Okay, one of those requires spores. taking one of these. And making another one of those. 2 titaniums, 2 irons, and a pristine mushroom. Don't need these. Oh. I'm dumb. I'm over here like, why aren't they turning into... Yeah, there's a reason why they're not turning into anything useful. I need to go collect more goo. Over here like, oh no, why am I not getting any microplastics? I wonder. Reminding me of this video I saw today where it's like of a woman trying to like hand off a pot with like that's hot to her daughter. And the daughter keeps fucking like reaching at it like she's going to fucking like grab it from like the bottom. And it's just like, the bottom of the pot is hot. She's like, okay. And reaches for it again. She's like, the bottom of the pot is hot. She's like, okay. She reaches for the bottom of it. Her mother proceeds to scream, the bottom of the pot is fucking hot! Can't say I totally disagree. Oh yeah, it is. But it's like, I can't say I disagree with the crash out. Ah. It is kind of funny the ways that certain people will basically just commit to a specific choice, even though it's like obviously the wrong one. Yeah, sunk cost in some cases, but like at the same time, it's like if somebody's like, don't touch this thing, it's going to be massively hot, and you're just like, okay. And continue unabated. It's like, what are you hoping for this what are you hoping out of this exchange? probably going to die. But it's okay. Okay, I didn't die. You know, you're probably not wrong. And it is kind of funny how, like, sometimes, like, yeah, we've all experienced it where we get this kind of, like, momentary, like, brain fart where, like, somebody will tell us very important information and we'll hear it, but we will not process it. Okay, there we go. Ah! Won't lie, the idea of being underwater and having to deal with like air tanks and shit like that is one of those things that freaks me out a little bit. Oh, vegetubes. Let's see. I've got space, so let's go get 4 ice, 2 iron, 2 silicon, 2 magnesium. Enough for 2 vegetube tech 2s. See. Okay. New heater. Global planet purification. Okay. Number of goo piles cleared up. Toxic area is cleaned. Okay, so that's a whole ass tree. Just need a silicon. Any silicon here? There we are. Not that. No, that's not. I already got that. Okay, fine. Available power. Yep. Showered in meteorites. Whatever, I'm close to my base. If I get killed by one, you know, it's fine. What do you fucking mean there's no water? Are you fuckers doing anything? Oh. I guess it's like an upper limit on how much water can be extracted from one specific area. Where's some ice? That reminds me, there's this one fucking like clearly a sitcom about like, yo, a modern mother or some shit like that. But it's kind of hilarious because all I've seen from it is this one clip where like the drama of the day, I guess, is that the woman's like very young son, we're talking like barely able to speak, maybe like 3, is suddenly like, I want ass. I want ass. And this like right after they came from some sort of like day camp for kids. And she's like, what the hell is going on? And they're like talking about it. And he's like, ass, I want ass. And they were like, I have no idea what you're trying to say, but it sounds the worst thing ever. And I'm dying inside. Could you please not? And like, she goes to this like photographer's like booth at the day camp where there's like bunches of pictures like kind of kids acting like kids. And, you know, like she's interacting with some other mothers there. And like, all of a sudden the kid's just like, ass. And the other mother's like, did he just say? And it's around this point she interacts with the photographer. And the kid starts like pointing at like, you know, this one picture. And just like, the photographer's like, oh, that's my son Axel. Or Axe. Short for Axelrod. He's been obsessed with your son, and she's like, wait, your son's name is Axe? I thought he was saying ass. Like, it is genuinely pretty funny. I'm just like, God, that would cause me to die inside. Stop producing spores. Or toxins. I don't have any space for that shit. At least I know I'm never gonna fucking run out of that shit. Okay, that's going up real quick. I break down these. Oh, that's, yeah, okay. There we go. Like, okay. Notice for a moment. Tier 1 heater generates 0.3 heat per second. Tier 2 generates 4.5 per second. Like, damn. That's a massive increase. Yeah, I'm not really a React, streamer. I haven't like bridged into yapping streams yet. Bo does that, but yeah, I'm playing Planet Crafters. Okay. But hey, Fel, iron and titanium. Yeah, content creator is a much more pleasant term because at least you're making something versus just being somebody who reacts to things or chats. Ow. What am I? Yeah, tier 2. That's shooting up. Oxygen's not going as fast as it could. Heat is going up slowly. Purification is rising reasonably quickly. I clearly can't make the base for it, or at least, wait. Oh, it's right there. Plastic polymer. Macroplastics. Macroplastics. Give me those sexy sexy microplastics that cause cancer and impotency. Destroy from the inside, bruh. Oh, okay. Oh, this is a big toxic area. The whole like destroy from the inside thing. It's like, is somebody mad that their preferred fucking like streamer waifu, doesn't get the same fucking traffic as say like Iron Mouse or some shit? One magnesium. Oh, not magnesium, cobalt. Progress screen, right. I unlocked that, so I should probably make that. I also need to get food. Like, seriously, I don't have any food on the make, and unfortunately I need to also, Yeah, dude. In general, I'm not a big fan of a lot of other streamers. I am a streamer, but I find a lot of like the real face streamers suffer from like a big fat festering ego associated with being a fucking, literally a fucking D-list celebrity. And it's like one of the most incestuous communities out there. Purification gel. I'll take that. Oh, okay. Right, I need iron and silicon. Oh. Two iron and a silicon. Actually, yeah, 2 iron and a silicon. I'm in Toxic Wasteland. The next stage is Toxic Dust. But we're increasing at a reasonable speed. Never really gotten the point of beacons unless it's for something that's hard to find. You can build beacons to basically like be like a marker for like where you're going. So it's useful for that, but in general, like I don't really use them because I have a good sense of direction in games like this. What I need to find is the main source of titanium for me at this level. Okay, so I'm gonna need 3 iron, 2 titanium, and a silicon. I haven't even reached blue sky yet. There's my like index in the upper right and the current first step in the upper left. It's done with the standard like metric prefixing, so like kilotIs versus TIs. The standard unit being, you know, terraformation units, I guess. They're just TIs. That's an aluminum. Or a titanium? Aluminum. Oh, that's a lot of goo. I never noticed that that's a lot of goo. I wonder. Okay, you must clear out goo before building. It is a common technique for survival to build like a little hut somewheres because huts you don't need to supply with air, but they can be used to like in a pinch give you air. Yeah, so like, okay. Terraforming a planet happens in stages. Blue sky is kind of like the very first stage. It does not mean a breathable atmosphere. It doesn't even necessarily mean water on the ground, but it does basically mean you're making progress. Once you start getting breathable air, you stop needing to worry about the oxygen in your tanks and whatnot, though. Ooh. Oh dear. I am very much going to suffocate. I thought I had more oxygen on me. Oh, whatever. Oh, right. Also, these are save points. Every time you enter into a place that has air like this, it's a save point. So in other words, I don't have to walk all the way back. Titanium, titanium, titanium. Or aluminum. Let's find an iron and a silicon. We wish you a great arrival on your new planet. You'll find here all the necessary to realize your task as you were. Feel free to get comfortable in the coming days. Oh yeah, there's lots of cases where you'll be like, oh, these people probably died horribly. Like on Humble, there's like 2 like recordings from like, okay, there's a bunch of crashed ships and at least one ship that like, or one like water, like one dude was dropped off ahead of you because like, so like the actual like character plot of this game is that you're a criminal. What crime you committed, who fucking knows? But it was like a major crime. But the organization behind all this shit has offered to commute your sentence if and only if you successfully terraform a planet to like be capable of supporting human life. Now, there are actually like endings where you get off the planet. If you get off the planet the traditional way, it's implicit that your character is just going to rinse repeat the same thing over again because the corporation responsible for this doesn't want to like, you know, give you the win even though you pulled off the win. They're basically like, you broke so various many rules, and therefore we will be considering whether to like extend your sentence. Actually, another ending is you get helped by pirates, but they're like, yeah, so we're probably gonna sell you into slavery. So sorry about that. And another is you contact the original aliens who were on that planet before. And, whether or not they help you is like up in the air because it's implicit that humanity's precursors are what these aliens were trying to get away from or some shit like that. Actually, have I gained the ability to make the ability to move faster? I wish to. Oh, well. Air, titanium, silicon, magnesium. Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Iron, titanium, silicon, magnesium. Okay. Da, 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 da. I do like finding aluminum. Oh, sweet. Planet occupancy rate. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's not good. Didn't even register a year. That's just their numbers dropping steadily. And just suddenly, like, dying off. Where's that last fucking... There's one more ooze somewheres. Incident report. During tungsten drilling operation, a highly toxic emission was detected at the central extraction drill following the perforation of a toxic tunnel. The fault was sealed to prevent contamination. No negative impact on equipment was reported. Nothing else of significance to report. That feels like a lie. Oh my. Damn it. Haha. Okay, that was a massive leap forward. Typically, I have to make that. The jetpack is a really good thing to get early on. It doesn't have any fuel, by the way. Like, that's just... It's just jetpacks for days. Yeah, it really does basically just allow you to like skip on shit. Ah, so that's what fucking company behind Baldur's Gate 3 was saying they were working on as their next project. So they're dropping Divinity 3. Divinity Hellstone. Okay, so it's like a side game in the series. Titanium, silicon to magnesium. Okay, there we go. I need 2 magnesium and the torch, because the torch is super useful for finding shit in the dark. I need 2 titaniums and fabric. And food. You. Give me that big spicy eggplant. It's a work in progress. A whip, as they say. But yeah, now that you mention it, EA, that what you said that like the game awards are on tonight fully explains why like I saw something people like getting prepared to be let down again, and they were like doom posting about or they were blackpilling about the never ever nature of Bloodborne on PC. And I was like, what spawned that? I need to actually play Original Sins 2. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Decision paralysis is one of my biggest banes. And while I own Divinity Original Sins 2 and played a little bit of Divinity Original Sins 2, when I was faced with the prospects that I would not be able to do all in one go, I was like, oh, and didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know which character's arc to pursue. And so I just didn't play the game. It's the most annoying aspect of my nature is that I will fucking buy a game, a full priced game, and then like decision paralysis myself out of playing it. It sucks so bad. Yeah, like in-game decisions, like Divinity Original Sin 2 has like a bunch of characters. They all have their own individual arcs. You got the Red Prince, you got the elf chick, you've got the other figures. And if memory serves, the elf chick wanted to talk to somebody. And I ended up like getting involved in a conversation with that person, and whatever their thing was never came up. And they promptly fucking got killed in a battle with me. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I know people are always like, oh, but that's just to motivate you to play the game again. It's like, okay, I get that. I truly do. But maybe I just want to do my one and done. Is that such a sin? Is it such an original sin too? Okay, there we go. I can tell that aspect of this planet is going to get annoying very quickly. It's going to be a real I Spy moment. That makes me wonder if Hollywood's ever considered making some shitty movie out of the I Spy game. And I'm not sure if that's like a game that exists in Germany, but it's like, it basically I Spy with my little eye, something that is insert clue of what you're looking at. Like a kid that's in the forest might, for instance, think they're being clever and say, I spy with my little eye something that is green. Pretty much. Oh, fuck. Okay, I have enough for... I don't have enough fabric for that. There's fabric back there. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna... Ah, fair. Ich sehe etwas, das ist... So go something like Ich sehe etwas, das ist Waze, or Schwartz if you're looking at something black. You're playing Civ 6? Wait, was it Civ 6 or Civ 7 that came out recently and was utter ass? Okay, yeah. Because I heard nothing but bad things out of Civ 7. Basically, what I heard was that Civ 7 took out all the things that you'd normally have that, you know, would make a good Civ game. If you're wondering why I'm doing all this nonsense, it's because if I do that, I'm breaking them down and making it so that I can then place them, you know, elsewhere and actually gain power from them. They're otherwise broken. Oh, Brillia seeds. I didn't notice those before. That could have been a disaster. I'm trying a Fate version of Civ 6. I have deployed the Gate of Babylon again in another IP, still overpowered. I've never modded Civ 6, or Civ 5 or 6. Can't remember. I've never modded a Civ game. Silicon, magnesium, and water. Advanced craft station. Okay. Two silicon. Okay. Yeah, don't we all? Actually. Oh yeah, that was a massive increase. Man, I'm hungry. I think I might end a little bit early, but only because like I am starving. So let me acquire targets. I'm just gonna send y'all to Martial. Slash raid Marshall underscore Bohemond. All right. So that was the stream for today. I believe I have Claire Obscure Expedition 33 listed for the docket tomorrow. And that will be the first time I've ever played that game. So you'll get to experience the magic of me probably sucking at the parry mechanic, out the ass. But either way, I hope you enjoy Marshall. I am going to go get food. I have been Paladin Ashe, and I am signing off.